state to state. So I got to see my whole country, which I never really thought I would be able to. Opportunity presented itself to me while I was in Miami. And I'm not gonna lie, like I'm gonna be real transparent with y'all right now. I was homeless in Miami, sleeping in my car when that opportunity came to me. Little backstory, my lease just was up in Jacksonville. So from there I went to Miami. Lord, that's how you made me in my heavens. I know I did some dirt and I ain't innocent. In isolation as I reminisce. The real reason you niggas switch. It was all about the Benjamin. It's up, nigga. It's up, nigga. I want to touch on today about a couple things today. I want to talk about a couple things that came to mind that I felt like I should bring to my channel and to my viewers. So a couple things came up. One of the things is with certain people, when you on certain journeys, and I don't want to just make it pretty much about, I don't want to make it about just music. This could go in anything that your occupation consists of, that is your passion, and whether it be teaching. Some people are passionate about teaching. They love teaching. So whether it be about teaching, whether it be about anything you want to be. Some people like to work in healthcare, which was something I did. And I'll touch more about that later. But whatever it is that you enjoy doing, sometimes, and then especially if it's an occupation where you have room to grow. You always want to have an occupation, like I said, where you have room to grow. And sometimes when you're doing these type of things, you have to, you have to lock in. And a lot of people, might not understand that, but those that do, they do. For me to do what I'm doing now, like I really had to lock in and get focused, because when you're doing something and it takes every bit of your brain knowledge to figure this out, because you don't have that help you need, or that others might have. When it comes to building a machine, you definitely have to go harder. So, I made a vow to myself that, a couple years back, that I'm not really going to talk on the phone like that. And, I'm not going to be just having senseless conversations that I felt like can be distractions. You know what I mean? I said that, if I'm going to be talking, that I have to be talking about something important, something that's obtaining to my goals. It has to be feeding either my spirit, my soul, or my pockets. I realized a lot of other stuff that I was doing and networking with people, certain crowds, it was really getting me nowhere. And I realize now, all these years, that it was a big distraction. But since I made that vow a couple years back and I locked in with myself, like I'm seeing so much that I've been accomplishing. It can get lonely, you can feel alone when you operate like that, because, you pretty much not talking, and unlearning certain behaviors, because I was the type that I had to always have somebody, at least somebody that I know I can talk to, I could, hit up and they're going to hit right back, and, all that stuff. But I noticed that, it's good to have, but it was something else that I was missing. And sometimes you have to sacrifice, not sometimes, a lot of the time you have to sacrifice certain things to get other things. I said, you know what, I'm going to just have to, this is one of the times where, like, I'm gonna just have to isolate and just lock in until I'm able to feel like I'm at a place where I can start, slowly doing some of the things that I used to do that I sacrificed in order to reach certain goals. People out there that haven't heard from me in a while and maybe just see me online or maybe even watch my videos, you know, that's just where I'm at right now today. You know, I know I might be a little hard to reach, but it's for a reason. I'm just trying to build up my brand, and with that it takes a lot of focus. Being that when you're doing something like this independently, there's a lot of unknown forces that just naturally try to block you and come in your way, and that with that you have to be focused to understand what's going on and what direction certain things are coming, and that's just what it's about. Over the years, what I have been doing is basically building building my machine. You know what I mean? Step by step, piece by piece, and I'm doing it independently, so it's gonna take time. It's a blessing that I'm able to do it. It's a blessing that I even have the mindset to do it and the courage to do it, because like it can get intimidating. You do have to keep in mind that you have to stay focused, and sometimes that might be sacrificing going out, you know, a whole year, maybe even two. It was a time where that sounded absurd. Me not going out, me not mingling. I had jobs, like I mentioned, that I was in the medical field, so I did transport. I enjoyed that, and that actually got me. That actually helped me get my first home studio, because every check that I would get, I would always invest into the studio and the equipment that I needed. So, I did roofing, um, I did over the road trucking. I worked in food service. I did a couple jobs. I definitely put that work in. One thing that I noticed was that really wasn't something that made me the happiest. Like I knew that I wanted more. I knew that I had to use these opportunities as a stepping stone. Because honestly, I'm like, I want to be my own boss. I don't want to work for somebody my whole life. You know what I mean? So I'm like, but in order to do that, I have to get whatever I'm making at this job and invest it in me. Just made sense to me. You know what I mean? Nobody taught me that. Nobody, I might have heard it here and there, but I just knew like that's the only method that I seen, my only way that I seen, that I could make certain things possible. Best job I had, working for someone else. It was a very small and it was a very small company, and I was able to travel over the road, state to state, so I got to see my whole country, which I never really thought I would be able to. Opportunity presented itself to me while I was in Miami. And I'm not gonna lie, like I'm gonna be real transparent with y'all right now. I was homeless in Miami, sleeping in my car when that opportunity came to me. A little backstory, my lease just was up in Jacksonville. So from there, I went to Miami because I was just basically winging it, saying like, yo, you know what, I'm gonna go down here, get a job, and have some money saved up. So I was going from like hotel hostels to sleeping in my car some nights, doing DoorDash. You know what I mean? So it wasn't nothing too bad, because like I had money coming in with the DoorDash, even though it wasn't nothing significant, but I didn't have to. spend what I had, the little bit that I had saved up to try to get on my feet. And then, I was telling people like, yo, I'm looking for, I'm from New York originally. Just my lease just was up in Jacksonville. I'm down here just trying to look for work, get on my feet. I got my own transportation. Somebody linked me up with somebody, word of mouth, basically. And I got a call saying like somebody looking for a driver to go over the road. But from there, but the catch is you got to go to Texas. So I'm like, yo, I really want to live in Miami? Because it's just one of the spots I always want to live in. And I'm like, this is my chance to make this happen. I really need money right now. And, I just really need an opportunity. Like, it don't really matter where it's coming from. I just need an opportunity. I just knew I didn't want to be in Jacksonville no more. And at that time, didn't want to be in New York. So I'm like, all right. So I went to Texas and I took up the offer. But I'm saying this story right here because, this story right here, it almost kind of turned me away from just continuing to try to build what I'm building now. Because at that time I had a camera. I had a Canon M50 Mark II. You know what I mean? I had a Canon M50 Mark II. So in my head, I'm like, all right, this could be the start of me really getting to know my camera. And at the same time, I could take footage of everywhere that I go. You know what I mean? Everywhere that I go, I'm about to be over the road, this, that, and the third. And so I was excited about that. So the thing was, as the guy that I met, I met him in Dallas. So he lived in a gated community. And basically, he told me, like, basically that I'm good. I could park my car while I take the Sprint. I started off at a Sprinter van. While I was on the road doing my runs, I would park my car in his apartment complex. Gated community, nice big apartments, balconies, swimming pool, just a luxury apartment. So I'm like, all right, yeah, I look like my car, it definitely be safe here. Mind you, I don't know dude. I don't know. I'm just taking my chances. You know what I mean? I'm like, all right, but he looked legit. You know what I mean? And the business looked legit. And he told me, so I'm like, you know what? I just trusted. I drove all the way from Miami to Texas. You know what I mean? So, and plus I'm like, I never even drove that far before. Like, it's a learning experience for me too at the same time. So basically, I get there. I want to say my first run. I do what it do my run. I come back, and I didn't take my camera with me. I didn't take my Bible with me. And in my Bible was my birth certificate. It was some other valuable stuff in that book bag. The thing that I was thinking about was my camera. So I went, checked the car, checked the trunk, checked everywhere it should be, and my book bag was gone. Bible, camera, birth certificate, gone. So I'm like, yo, like, nah, bro, like, you serious? Like, so I go to bro. This is an older gentleman, you know what I mean? Older gentleman. And I'm like, yo, what's, like, my stuff is missing. What's good with that? Like, so of course, he don't know nothing, you know what I mean? So he say, and I'm hoping, that's the case. Right there, I had to make a decision, like, yo, do I wild out? I am in Texas or whatever, but I really don't care, but I'm not trying to go to jail in Texas. So basically, I had to make it the quick decision right there and say, yo, you know what? I'm gonna have to take this L, which I was still hesitant to push forward because I'm like, yo, all right, the dude really come here, bring me here to like do some funny stuff, you know what I mean? That was the only issue that I had working there. Other than that, I did make a lot more than I lost dealing with that dude. I used that time to really do some soul searching and basically, learn the craft about over the road trucking, which was beautiful, and just seeing my beautiful country. Because like when you really, I'm from New York City, so this is really all I know. But actually getting out of New York City and seeing what America really looks like, that was a blessing. Like I'm like, and like I said, me coming from where I'm coming from, I never thought I would actually be able to do that and see that. More knowledge on my country, and not just looking on a map or reading in the book. I was actually in these places, boots on the ground. You know what I mean? So I take honor in that. When that happened, I ain't gonna lie. I said, yo, you know what? It ain't meant. It ain't meant. I'm gonna just make this bread, stack this money, and just live my life. You know what I mean? I'm like, yo, forget about trying to do content. At that time, I was like, yo, I'm done with it. It's just too much hatred coming my way. You know what I mean? Just trying to stop me. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, somebody's gonna steal a camera from a homeless dude trying to come up. Like, you know what I mean? What sense does that make? You know what I mean? Like, that's how I was thinking. I'm like, yo, what? Like, who really does that? You know what I mean? And I'm like, whatever it is or whatever force it is, it's got to be somebody hating, like, big time on trying to stop what I'm trying to do. And people will do that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if they feel like they could use you for what they got going on, like, and help build whatever they got going on, and they use you till they can't use you no more. You know what I mean? Till you pretty much dead. You know what I mean? That's how they rather have you. You know what I mean? So if they could stop you from building up or whatever, like little mischievous stuff, you know what I mean? They going like, I'm noticing people would do that. At that time, I was just confused with it. Like, yo, what's like? So I'm taking it as like, yo, it ain't meant to be. I still wasn't happy. Like, I was getting money over the road. I was traveling, going to different countries multiple times that year. You know what I mean? So, and I'm like, yo, I see where this could go. You know what I mean? I see that I could just be out of town, out of the country, and just living life. But I'm like, it still wasn't fulfilling, because I'm like, I need to be doing what I do, and I know that's creating. You know what I mean? I'm like, I'm just getting money, but I'm not creating. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I'm spending all my time just on the road, all my energy driving, then I'm sleeping and waking up, then I get paid, and then I'm just, but it wasn't enough. You know what I mean, for me. Since then, I've just been finding my way back into what I love doing, and here I am. I didn't let that stop me. I just came back and I bounced back. Got another camera, that and more. So, God sees everything. He said, vengeance is mine. You know what I mean? The Most High, it reads in the word, vengeance is mine. So a lot of times, I don't even worry about trying to get revenge. In fact, I don't worry about it at all, because I really believe that word. And he proves it to me time and time again. Even though you might have people that's not rooting for you, you do have people that are rooting for you. And I want to take this time out to shout out the ones that I do have with me, that's behind the scenes. You know what I mean? And they always come through, you know what I mean? And basically do what they gotta do for me. They always seem to come through and do what they gotta do and execute. You're not going unnoticed, and I appreciate you. They know exactly who they are. People will try to put you in a box, and that's why I had to do what I had to do. I had to get back around to tapping into my element, tapping into my creation, because the thing with me is, yes, I'm an artist, but that's not the box you put me in. You get what I'm saying? And I know this. Why? Because I study the game and I study categories. I know what's what. And I'm not, yeah, I'm an artist, but I'm much more. So that's why I cannot get put in the box. You know what I mean? For the simple fact, I'm an artist, I'm a songwriter, I'm a recording engineer, I'm a videographer, I'm a sound engineer. You know what I mean? So I'm a cameraman, I'm an editor. Like, I'm doing all of this. You get what I mean? So, I'm directing at times. I'm doing, like, this is what I've been doing over the years, and I've been making sure that I cover everything. You get what I mean? So I know that I got it covered, and I could do everything on my own if need be. You know what I mean? At least to start it off. You know what I mean? So I won't be relying. So I'm not the same with certain artists. You get what I mean? That's simply just artists. Like, all they do is go in the booth and record, or maybe just write a song for somebody. I'm not that type of artist. Like, I do literally everything. You get what I mean? Like, I don't have to rely on anybody, like really anybody. You know what I mean? Really just the Wi-Fi is all I really need. And I can make some things happen. So that's why I can't get put in the box. And I knew I had to pretty much be in control of everything and what's going on when it comes to me and what I got going on, my creativity, my thoughts, my ideas. And there's a lot of artists out there, and I pretty much respect those type of artists because I know I'm not the only one. It's this beast out there that, they know everything. And, that's just how the direction of things, the way things are going. I want to work with the new type of artist, the new type of wave that's out there, and that's the artist that knows how to do everything. That doesn't need the engineer, like, because he is the engineer. Doesn't need the songwriter because he is the songwriter. You know what I mean? Doesn't need the cameraman because he is the cameraman too. Because I know, like, if a couple of artists like that get together, man, who knows what, like, I know, like, definitely something amazing that will come out of that. The thing that I'm learning is, that I know somebody bigger than the industry. And it's people out there that's bigger than the industry, believe it or not. And once I noticed that, I said, yo, you know what? Those are the people I need to be getting at to help me that can help me the best do what I want to do and to get my work out there and get my art out there. You know what I mean? The people bigger than the industry that guarantee, you know what I'm saying, they hold weight, and they make stuff happen. You get what I'm saying? And move mountains, these people. And and I'm gonna let y'all in on who these people are. You get what I'm saying? And but these people are, believe it or not, you guys right now that's watching. The people, yes, the people is bigger than the industry. And that's just what it is. And I've been noticed that. Everybody noticed that. If you really pay attention. When you look at people that went viral, that just blew up organically, you guys did that. The people. You know what I'm saying? And I noticed once the people solidify you, that's better than any industry cosign. You know what I'm saying? That's better than anything because you got the people. You actually got your people that you went in the mud and they came out of the mud and they brought you out of the mud. Once that happens, that's when the industry comes to try to work with you. You get what I mean? So, but the people, they'll work with you. You could come as you are, and they'll work with you. That's why I gotta stick with the people, because I am the people. And you know what I mean? I'm gonna accept anybody how they are, you know what I mean? If they serious or whatever the case, you get what I mean? So I can relate to that. I can relate to y'all. That's why I'd rather just stick with the people and just take my time with this. With that being said, I'm signing out and I'm asking the people right now, y'all, the internet, do what the internet do.